Hey everyone, got another video for you today. We're going to look at the Nikon Z7 for landscapes. This video is recorded on a Z7 with the 35mm f1.8 at f1.8. Okay, so I've been lucky enough to be able to use the Nikon Z7 for landscapes over the past couple of weeks, and I've been really impressed with the results that I've got out of this camera. Just so we have a starting point, I've also been using the Nikon D850 to shoot my photography for well over the past year. So obviously all the experiences that I'm having now with the Z7 are based off my experiences with my D850. Also use D500 as well for some of my wildlife stuff. When I'm shooting landscapes, those of you that know me or follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I really like long exposures. This could be anything from 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, which might be normal to some people, but then I kind of expand that into 800 seconds, 900 seconds, 1000 seconds. I'd be using a 10 stop or a 15 stop filter at that point, with a 0.9 hard graduated filter or a 1.2 medium graduated filter. Depends what I'm doing as to whether or not I prefer mediums or hards to my graduated filters. I very rarely use softs, but that's just because of the types of photography that I do and the pictures that I like. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use softs, it's all a personal preference. I'm obviously in a very lucky position where I have access to a lot of different filters. I have Nissi filters that are 100mm, and I also have the 150mm set for the 14 to 24. I also then have Lee filters in the 100mm set and also in the 150mm set for the 14 to 24 as well. Bit of a side note, if you'd like me to compare the two in a separate video, please tell me in the comments below. What I've got in this video is we're just going to have a quick talk about some of the features that I like in the Z7, some of the settings, and then we're also going to look at some of the images that I've taken over the past 2 weeks. When I show you those images, you'll also see there's a bit of video around the location that I'm shooting in, just to give you a bit of idea about the environment, and then you can see the shot that I got from that location. In the video you'll see how the camera is set up on the tripod, what lens I'm using. In some of them it's the 14 to 24, and in some of them it's the 24 to 70 f4. So I've been extremely happy with the performance that I get out of the D850 whilst I'm shooting my landscape images. And to be able to say that the Z7 gives me equal to that quality is absolutely fantastic. But in some situations, especially when using the 24 to 70 f4, especially corner sharpness, there is a difference in picture quality. The Z7 starts to kind of just peek over what I'd get from my D850 picture quality in landscapes. Now, obviously, because the Z7 is lighter and smaller, generally speaking, going forward, all of my landscape shots will probably be taken on a Nikon Z7. Whenever I'm hiking or going across country, generally taking something that's smaller and lighter kit like a Z7 is going to be really useful to me, and I know that I can still get the same resolution and quality that I do out of my D850. One thing I have been particularly impressed with is the Nikon Z7's robustness and weather sealing. So I've used it in a ton of different environments, and I've been really impressed with how it handles rain, cold weather environments. Now obviously, because I'm in the UK, there's a lot of rain, but we don't get particularly cold like some places, and we don't get particularly hot like other places either. So I've not used it in extreme temperature variants like sub-freezing conditions or in really high temperature areas like deserts, for example. But in the conditions that I've used it in the UK with a lot of rain, it's performed brilliantly. To say that a mirrorless camera is built the same and has the same weather sealing as the D850 is quite a bold statement, but for everything that I've seen and the situations that I've used it in, I've been really impressed with. If any of you are interested in how wet the camera's been, on my Instagram account I have some pictures taken of a Z7 with the 500mm on the front of it. That was when I was shooting wildlife with the set, and it rained quite heavily and it got really wet, so I took some quick pictures just to see how wet that got. It worked perfectly fine. I've had no issues since. I was really happy with its operation in the wet conditions. So what particular features do I use in my Z7 for landscape photography? Well, first of all, focus peaking is extremely useful. Now this is obviously nothing new to a lot of people. D850 has that, a lot of other cameras have focus peaking, but I particularly find it useful for either manual focus lenses or tilt shift lenses as well. In the Z7 and also in the D850, there's 3 settings to the focus peaking. You have peak 3, peak 2 or peak 1. This adjusts the sensitivity. Peak 3 will give you the whole area of your depth of field, and then peak 1 will give you the absolute critical area of sharpness. So if you're shooting with a 105 1.4 for example, or something similar, peak 1 is going to be definitely useful. You can also change the colour, so red, blue, yellow and white. A particular favourite feature of mine, which is actually a feature that's in a lot of Nikon cameras, is called exposure delay mode. I would much prefer to use exposure delay mode over things like mirror lockup and definitely over self timer. So what exposure delay mode does is that when you press the shutter button, the camera then lifts the mirror up in a DSLR, obviously not in a Z7, and it then waits for a period of time, either 1 second, 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and then it automatically takes the shot. Those of you that use mirror lockup know that you have to press the shutter button twice. In the Z7 there's no mirror to lock up in the first place, but I still use exposure delay, especially if I don't have a remote. At that point, when I push the shutter button, the camera will wait for 3 seconds, the vibrations of me pushing the shutter button then dissipate, and the camera takes the shot, and I get really nice, sharp, long exposures. I've been thoroughly impressed with the picture quality that I get out of the Z7, and I hope that you will be too. So we'll take a look at some of the pictures that I've got and some of the videos to show you the environments those shots were taken as well. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe.